안녕하세요. Unfortunately, that was the limit of my Korean, so we will have to do the rest in English. But hello, it's so wonderful to be here today. I'm Amanda Kelly. I'm one of the co-founders of Streamlit, and I'm really excited to come here today to tell you more about Streamlit, about how it works with Snowflake, and also about how it works with AWS and some of the amazing capabilities that we're giving to you to help accelerate your teams. So, quick talk. We're just going to go very quickly over the history of Streamlit, a little bit about how Streamlit and Snowflake together make it even easier to build these next generation apps, and then also how Snowflake and AWS work so well together to really accelerate your workloads. So for those of you who are, can I get a show of hands actually? Who's heard of Streamlit before? And who's, okay, all right, good. We've got some good fan people in the room. But for those of you who didn't raise your hands, what is Streamlit? Well, very simply, Streamlit is an open source Python library. It makes it very, very easy to build apps from data and from Python. So if you don't know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, that's not a problem because we make it very, very easy for you to build web apps straight in Python. And that gives you a lot of power, especially in the age of generative AI, right, to have apps that work very natively with models, with scripts that can work all parts of your pipeline. So just as a really quick history of Streamlit, my co-founders and I, Adrian and Tiago, we all met a little over a decade ago at a research lab in Silicon Valley called Google X. And at the time, we were trying to make what basically became ChatGPT. We were trying to work with neural language models to make it really easy to translate and ask things. But the problem we kept running into is that when you're in the forefront, and honestly now with Gen AI, we're all on the forefront, the tools that you need, you often don't have. Right, you have to roll your own tools. And this is true even if you're an analyst. You have to make your own custom dashboards. You have to make your own stories. It's so important for what we do in data is to have this. But it wasn't possible, right? You'd have to go learn Flask. You might have to go learn JavaScript in order to do this. And we said, that shouldn't be the way, right? These are incredibly smart individuals, some of the smartest individuals in the company who know how to deeply work with data. How can we empower them, right, to quickly build all of the tools that they need? And so that, a few years later, led to the genesis of Streamlit. Can we make it fast by allowing data apps to be built directly in Python? So that's what we released with the open source library back in 2019. And it immediately took off. We found that there were a lot of people like us who said, yes, this is exactly what I need. I need to build my own tools, my own dashboards, my own apps. A few years later, Snowflake came calling. And they said, hey, we know how to do data really well. Right? And big companies, they don't want to move their data around. What if we bring Streamlit inside of Snowflake? We can make it even better together, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then Gen AI came, and fortunately, because Streamlit is such an amazingly simple protocol, pretty much all LLMs write Streamlit perfectly out of the box, and we'll see how amazing that actually is. But going back to that initial value prop, really going from I have data to I have something, especially my business teams can use, is really, really hard. And why is that hard? Well, the data part is hard in and of itself, right? Getting the right data in, finding the right data, things like that. Then you're often pulling it into a notebook, right? Some type of script, trying to clean it, transform it, work with it. Now maybe you've got something, you're struggling with charting code to tell the story, right, that you need to spur that decision. Maybe you've decided you need to make an app, whether it's a dashboard or whether you need a front end for your orchestrator tool. Now maybe you have to call a different team in your company. This entire process can often take months. And we talk to companies all the time that say, oh my goodness, right? It took us 6 months to build this thing that we need, and we needed it yesterday, right? And the whole idea is within Streamlit, can we make that hours? It should not be days, it should not be weeks. If your team has a need right now, we want to unblock you, right? To do that directly, especially if you have the data and if you have the access. And if we can make it fast, we can actually fundamentally change how data teams work with data and how companies work with data. Because one of the problems that we have is we've all kind of internalized that data is hard, right? Unstructured data is hard. Connecting data is hard. You have to have the right permissions. All of us at some point have stopped asking all of the questions that we could. We've stopped dreaming. And it was great to see some of the videos before on here because I see people dreaming again. Dreaming with Gen AI, dreaming about how we can give better value to our business partners, better value to our customers. But the only way that's possible is if these tools are really, really easy. If it's fast to just say, I wonder, right, how many of our customers logged in and did X type of action yesterday? Of course, you have to have the data in the right place, but it also has to be easy to put that in a place where you can consume it, where I can talk about it with my sales team, with my marketing team. And so Streamlit solves one half of this. right? You no longer have to be front-end developers. We make it really, really easy for you to have all of these front-end skills, right? To build the beautiful web apps out of the box, the visualizations, the interactions, so you don't have to worry about it. But what Snowflake brings to the table is the other half of this, right? You can go right now, you could open up your laptop, you could pip install Streamlit, and you would see how easy it is. You want to write text, ST write. You want a data frame, ST data frame. You want a button, ST button. It's very, very easy to use. But once you have that on your laptop, the real power to you and your company is to have that scaled to tens of thousands of concurrent users who are all doing different things, and it's all obeying the right permission structure. And you're not having data go outside your firewall or anything. That's what Snowflake brings in. Right? You can build Streamlit directly on top, right, of your data, no data traffic movement. It will observe all of the controls and permissions and things that you have. And then we take care of all of that scaling for you, right? So you don't have to have that DevOps and that IT skill set either. It's all easy, right? And that means that together, we're really going after this value of fast, right? So today, you can have that idea. I wonder if we could slice the data this way. Right, you could actually build it, you could share it with somebody all in an afternoon. And if you want to see how easy this really is, we have a hackathon going on later tonight. You can come by the booth. You'll see some of the amazing things people were able to make in just hours. And again, the whole point here is not just that we've made an API easy, that Snowflake has made it easy to access and do your data easy. The whole point is, can we change how we work with data? Right? The same way that Gen AI is making us rethink what it means to be developers, what it means to be business people. What we really want at the end of the day is this really fast communication loop, right? The way that your companies make money, right, is not often with you, sitting in the data science or developer seat, right? It's your salespeople who are out in the field, right, who need to answer a question, right? Your customer support agents, your marketing teams who need to decide, right, where to do things, your product teams who need to decide what to build next. And if data science, if data engineering is sitting in a tower, right, taking requests for next quarter, right, you're not delivering as much business value. But if we can make this fast, either because you can self-serve, right, teams on their own can build these things, or because we make it faster to work with your data teams, now all of a sudden we've unlocked something. With Gen AI, we've unlocked even bigger value. So this is a real example from a couple of years ago where, so I work in product and I was working with the open source team, and we had 2 releases in a row that had something go wrong with it. And the first thing that we did, because we were Streamlit, was we got everybody in a room. We got the engineers, the data scientists, the product people all in a room, and we said, throw up all the data we can basically on the screen. Let's put it in an app. Let's all start looking at it. It was incredibly powerful just to sit there with people who understand different ways of how things work, to all look at it and slice it. So the second thing that you're seeing here, right, is what we started to do. Let's split out this data. Hey, this is interesting. Can we throw that up? Can we look at this in a different way? Again, if we hadn't been able to do this quickly, if we'd had to go back, look at some slides, formulate a request, this whole thing would have taken weeks. Instead, we were able to very quickly, right, get out of this problem, start releasing again. And from it, we create a number of different tools, right, because it's just code. Right? So we can fork this, we can change it. They can be living things. And that's really, I think, one of the biggest things about Streamlit is that apps should not be static, right? Things should be living and changing. Gen AI is giving so much promise of what we can do. If things have to take 6 months, right, to do it, right, you're not catching up with the market. You're not delivering what your customers need. But if you can literally sit there and you can change, right, things as they go. If that app is different today than it was yesterday because of some new insight, then that's an incredible amount of value that you've unlocked for your stakeholders. And that's why over 80% of the Fortune 50 use Streamlit. Often in R&D and analytics, it helps speed up their teams, right? Faster time to value, faster time to market. Streamlit's the 6th fastest growing Python library right now, right? And part of that is because of how well it works with LLMs. It's such a clean protocol, again, that all LLMs write it basically out of the box. And so all together, right, when you use Streamlit and when you use it in Snowflake, you're getting this full package. You're getting the best of the open source API inside of Snowflake. Your data never has to leave the premises, right? We've got that inbound editor, and as I'll show you with the Copilot as well, that just makes it really easy for you to say, hey, let me pull up some data today. Let's find some insights. Let's put it into an app. Let's ship it this afternoon, right? You don't have to worry about setting up your environment. You don't have to worry about connecting to data. All of it's about just making it really fast for you as a developer and a data team to get what you need. And that means that you can make so many things, right? People have often talked to me and they said, well, what is Streamlit for? Right? Is it supposed to replace Tableau? Right? Is it more for Flask? And what I often say is Streamlit is for things that your teams actually never had before. A lot of these are just small apps, things that you wish that you had. I wish that there was a UI on this CRUD app, right? I would love to do this what-if analysis that we were doing in Excel, but you never did it before because it was too costly, right? It took too long. So a lot of what we see teams doing, we see very advanced R&D things. I want to evaluate my LLM model. I want to look at this in a different way. We see next-gen BI things, people building chat on top of it. But we also see all of these tools in between, just things that are self-serve. They're better as an app, but because people didn't have the skills before it was too long, we never made them. And that's really, I think, the power of Streamlit, that we're empowering all of these new types of things, the wishes and dreams that you had in your company, right? The things that you wanted to do with data to actually come alive. And when you break it inside of Snowflake, right, what we're giving you is all of this end-to-end, right? Again, not just the API, not the deployment, but everything that we're doing with AI right now. We're trying to bring the same ease of use, right, the same trusted efficiency, all to AI as well, right? So you can have all of the best LLMs out of the box inside of Snowflake. You don't have to worry about the governance of it. We have all of these simplifications that we've built in our Cortex AI to make it really easy to do RAG, generative AI. You can also do all of your ML. We have Copilot, it works with Streamlit. Our notebooks work with Streamlit. We try to make all of these things work really easily together out of the box. Also, at the end of the day, again, it's just easy to do what you want with your data. So this is just a quick example of Copilot working with Streamlit, just to show I'm not lying when I say Streamlit works really, really well with LLMs. So it might be hard to see, but what you're seeing in the corner right there is we're just selecting some data. And what we're going to do, here's an example app running one of the latest versions of Streamlit here. But we're going to say, let's pull in some data. We have this data set on diamonds. And we're going to pull it in, and we want to see what could you do with it. And so all we're going to do is ask the LLM here, right, in Copilot, can you pull in this data and, can you do something with it? So it's going to pull it in, and it's going to put it in a data frame, right? So right now it's going to give us some code, right? Again, you can see this is just Claude under the hood, but again, you can pick different models. They all write really, really good Streamlit code. We're just going to replace what we have here, and again, this is all inside of Snowflake, so it just runs, right? It grabbed that data, I had it, it just run, right? You could hit that share button right now if you wanted, but Copilot's going to actually help you improve this app. It said, hey, here's something you could do. You could add some interactive filters, right? It understands what's happening with the data. It understands Streamlit, and now it's suggesting what you might want to do next. So now it's going to go in there. Again, it's going to write the code. We're going to go in. We're going to replace that code, and we'll see, that it gives us a new version of the app. And this whole thing, by the end, you'll see, we'll have written a very powerful application. We actually haven't touched the code at all. Copilot's done all of that. So for those of you who are sitting in the audience saying, I'm not that great at Python, but a lot of where this is going with LLMs is that you don't even need to be. But the benefit of being all in Python is that it's very readable, right? When you think about productionizing as a company, you can trust it, right? It's code. You can store it on GitHub, right? You can run tests on it, right? And that can give you that confidence to edit it, to go and scale up to those, 10,000, however many concurrent users you have. So it added some filters there. Now it suggested we might want to add some visualizations. So we're just going to add those visualizations. Again, it'll just write the code. Streamlit works with pretty much all of the other open source libraries in Python. You like Matplotlib, you like Bokeh, you like Plotly, it doesn't matter. We're using Altair here because that's my favorite, but it'll write it, and you can specify whatever you want it to write on. And as a company, and some of the things that we're working on in Snowflake, we make it really easy to do those defaults too. You can set your company themes, right? You can use just the libraries you want. Again, you get that ease of use out of the box. We're just building this app, right? But because it's inside of Snowflake, it's going to be really, really easy to run, to deploy, to scale it right on top of it, right? So there's those visualizations it made. And it could get so much more than that as well. So where are we going next? So Streamlit continues to delve on two fronts. The first front is on the API. We're continuing to make sure that all LLMs work really well with Streamlit out of the box, but we're continuing to also say everything that you want, we want you to have this in this API. So here's an example of some new theming that we just released. A lot of what you've told us is, hey, Streamlit looks nice, but I really want it to look like my company. So we've made it really easy to just adjust the colors, the fonts, the types, so it can look exactly like you want. Some of the things, and we'll show it later if you come to the hackathon, things like top navigation, different ways to do containers, all of these allow you to create much more complex apps. And then we also support that inside of Snowflake, right? So you could host it yourself, but Snowflake gives you that end-to-end use inside of the box. And that's where we continue to innovate on Snowflake too. How can we continue to make it easy to work with whatever models you want, with whatever data you want, have an app with it, right? And then scale to all of your thousands of users. All right. So let's bring it back to AWS, because that's why we're all here. And presumably you're all AWS customers. And really, Snowflake and AWS are better together, right? We've integrated these things so that it's really, really easy to have your data on AWS, but also use Snowflake and also use Streamlit. So we've done $2.5 billion of joint investment in both go-to-market and customer solutions. And under that, we have 5 years of linked strategic collaboration agreements for developing industry standards, deepening our product integrations, increasing our sales collaboration, and expanding our marketing strategies. When you have AWS and Snowflake together, it really is the best of breed. It makes it, just to quote one of our customers, Hillary Fair, she said that AWS, the National System Integrator Partner of the Year, and Snowflake's 4-time Partner of the Year, she has said that it is better together, right? I think it's something that you can trust from a lot of our customers. Most of our customers run on AWS because of the great benefits that AWS provides. And so everything that I just showed you too, with Streamlit, with Snowflake, right, you can also run on top of Amazon Bedrock and with all the other Amazon services as well. And so you get all of these kind of custom, easy to use things from Snowflake, right? But it works directly, right, with Amazon as well. So here's an agentic solution that's built using agents for Amazon Bedrock and for Snowflake Cortex. Users can simply interact with the chat application, ask their questions in natural languages, and they get the response back. So you don't need to connect to different systems. You don't need technical knowledge or programming skills to write queries or programs to find the answer. You're able just to consolidate that customer information into a unified platform that you can then streamline with your own communication, personalized interactions, and proactively address your customer needs. And with Streamlit, right, it is just an open source library. So we have plenty of customers, right? Again, you can go pip install it. It can be on your laptop right now, right? You will continue to get the best of breed of everything with it being open source and working with all sorts of LLMs, no matter what provider you're on. And you can host your own apps. Right, this is a big benefit that Snowflake believes in too, right? Whatever your data type, right, wherever it's stored, we just want to make it easier to work with. So we will continue to invest in the open source product to continue to give you all of the best of the APIs, make sure it works with all of the LLMs out there, but also to make sure it works really well with Snowflake so we can give you this one end-to-end solution. And so if you're an AWS customer right now, but not a Snowflake one, don't worry. You can get all of the great benefits of Streamlit that I just showed you. But when you combine it with Snowflake and Amazon together, right, you get this secure environment where you can have all of that data, you can structure it, you can store it, you can govern it, and you can put Streamlit on top of that. And all of that together makes it that much faster for you to go from I have data, whether it's unstructured, structured, wherever it's in AWS, it's in S3, to I have something I can share with my customers, which is at the end of the day what you really want. And I think at the end of the day, what we really want, both in Streamlit and in Snowflake, is we want to make data teams the hero. We want to make IT teams the hero. We want to make it really, really easy for those of you who understand the data best, who understand what the data is possible of, to get it in the hands of people who can use it. And we do that by just trying to get out of your way. We want to make it easy to integrate with AWS, with everything that you're already doing, where your data is already located, with the great things that Amazon Bedrock is offering. We want to make it easy to get in and transform with SQL or Python, right? And you should go and look online. There's amazing demonstrations of how you can do that in our notebooks and other things with Snowflake. And then we want to make it easy with Streamlit, but also everything that we're also building with AI, with Cortex, to all of a sudden just bring that all together, right? To make really simple applications that you can literally make in a number of hours and get out there so you have it in the hands of your customers, you have in the teams, you can get that fast feedback loop, right? You can understand if this is useful, you can move on, you can scale, it's up to you, right? The power is in your hands. So I really hope that we see some of you over at the Snowflake booth. We'll be talking about Streamlit there too. You can also ask about the hackathon that we're doing tonight. We have some finalists that will be judging. We have a lot of cool Streamlit swag. I will be there as well if you'd like to come say hi. Really, if I have told you anything today, I hope you take away that you should go try Streamlit, right? Go pip install it, go try it on Snowflake, try it on Replit, try it on any pretty much of competing services. They all support Streamlit because it works so well and it's so easy. Try building your first app today. See how easy, see how delightful it is. Try building a chat interface on top of it. I guarantee you're going to be surprised and delighted with how quickly you can create things. And then I'm really excited to see what you can create for your companies, because that's going to be better than almost anything you get directly out of the box. The things that you customize, the things that you make directly for your companies, that's what has the impact. And that's why we want to build all of this easy and put it into your hands so you can make those truly transformative products for your company. Thank you so much.